So Bitcoin has gone nowhere this year. The altcoins, dead. Completely dead. The Nasdaq has done 50% in just the last 6 months. So would you really want to join that rally now? S&P 500 basically consisting out of the 7 huge tech giants, and the rest of the market is just hugely lagging behind. So where would you put your money right now? I mean, we still have gold, but after a 70% run in this year, I don't know, doesn't really look like a good risk to reward ratio to me. So if you ask me, the answer then is crystal clear. Where would you put your money right now? That's what I'm gonna answer in this video, so stay tuned, we're jumping right in. Hello and welcome to another video by HKCM Global. My name is Joe and today we are diving into the mining sector. Yes, mining. I just told you about gold maybe not being the safest bet right now after such a strong rally. But anyways, there is more to mining than just gold, and also the fundamentals of gold still looking strong. So we're not just playing a pure bet on gold long with this one, but it's way more complex than that. So you've probably heard about super cycles. Super cycles in the economy and therefore also in the markets occur ever so often and usually alternate between one another. And it is pretty clear that over the last couple of years we've definitely seen a tech super cycle. I mean, look at the Nasdaq. I mean, look in the S&P 500. Basically all the most valuable companies in there are huge tech companies or mostly even just software companies. But at the end of the day, all of this tech basically serves to enhance the real world and to improve your experience in the real world. And the real world is still made out of stuff like wood, metals, stone, asphalt, brick and mortar stuff that makes up your homes, that makes up your table like this one, and that also builds a MacBook like this one here. So even in the time of AI, commodities cannot be disregarded because they are what this world that we live in is made out of. And while I just told you about the huge overrepresentation of tech inside the S&P 500, guess what is grossly underrepresented? Old school commodities companies, and namely mining companies. That's why today we're gonna dive into 2 mining companies that I brought for you, and also, of course, I brought for you some diversification here, because in a time of huge geopolitical tensions, and yes, we are definitely in such a time of geopolitical tension, it is also a good idea to diversify politically. So first of all, I brought for you Freeport-McMoRan mining company out of the United States of America. Actually, I was kind of surprised to find they're only ranked at number 11 of the biggest publicly traded mining companies, because I feel they're making so much headlines that they should have been way higher. But anyways, that's what the number says. So revenue-wise, they're just on a rank 11. And we're also going to take a look at Zijin Mining. They're ranked at number 4 and are, I mean, you can guess it by the name or you can know the company already. They're out of China. And why did I pick these 2? Well, because for both of them, we've just recently established an entry target zone. And for one of them, we have already even placed an entry. So let's maybe just cut right to the meat of it. So starting off, Zijin Mining, company out of China, actually even established only in 2000, so a absolutely young company. You might maybe even want to call it a startup still. Now, I mean, jokes aside, 50,000 employees at this point in time, so not a startup by any means, but only 25 years old. That's a baby in the mining sector. But to maybe give you the bigger picture already, this baby is going rocket ship mode. I mean, starting off from 2020 lows, so the COVID lows of 2020 up until the most recent all-time high, this has been a 1500% run. So a 15x here for Zijin Mining. Absolute rocket ship, I'm telling you. And as you can see here clearly on the chart now, primary count, we don't see any signs of that stopping yet. So we conclude that overall, out of this COVID low here in 2020, we have seen a rally up in a wave 1. We've then seen a nice and clear wave 2 corrective mode here into the low of October 2022, and ever since we are right now in the underlying 1, 2 and are currently forming the wave 3 here, so of the undercount, right? So do remember, this is not the wave 3 following this wave 2 here, but this is the wave 3 following the undercount of this wave 3 here inside. So the wave 3 then to follow this red wave 2 here, and the overreaching wave 3 following this wave 2 down here is only going to be concluded way after that. So we really are in a huge bullish momentum here for Zijin Mining. And that's why it's probably no wonder to you that in this wild rally, we are searching for entry points, and we have found one just recently. So we have concluded that inside this overreaching wave 3 that I just told you about and showed you, out of the even overreaching wave 3, then we have concluded that inside here, so inside this undercount, you remember the red wave 2 here and the overreaching wave 3 from the previous chart. So inside here we of course also likewise have a 5 waves under structure, and so far we've seen a wave 1, a 2, a 3, and are right now likely still inside of the wave 4 corrective mode. Alternatively, with a probability of currently 32% only, we could already have seen the wave 4 low in here, because this chart is just so incredibly bullish. But primary scenario does remain that we're probably going to go just a little bit deeper inside this target zone and only then establish the wave 4 low before it's off to the races again. And sadly, since this is still an active target zone, and since we still concluded the wave 4 is probably going to land in here once more, I cannot share the exact coordinates. This then is reserved for paying subscribers. Link down there in the description if you are interested in that. But here in this target zone, that's exactly the spot where we're probably going to see the pivot point 40 wave 4, and that's exactly the spot where we advised very bullish subscribers to already get a first position in here, to not be left out if we are to see the alternative come into fruition. So beautiful setup here for CGN, and I would not want to miss out on that one. Freeport-McMoRan then, little bit of a different story, because in the grand scheme of things, Freeport-McMoRan is a dinosaur of the industry. They're founded not in 2000 but in 1912, so 113 years old now already, and smaller than CGN, basically only half the size of CGN in revenue. China really is taking over, I feel. But anyways, so on the grand scheme of things, for Freeport-McMoRan, we have seen a double top here in the market in 2008, and then secondly in 2010 at almost the exact same levels, and ever since we've been here in this corrective triangle, bringing us down to the lows of, again, March of 2020, so the COVID lows, and ever since, again, off to the races, huge relief rally for Freeport-McMoRan, and after such a strong rally, I mean, what is this rally even? So starting here out of the low 488 up until the top in April of 2022, that's again 970%, so that's almost a 10x for Freeport-McMoRan in just a matter of 2 years. I mean, wow. Okay, but ever since, I mean, after a 10x in 2 years for a old and established company, of course, there has to come some consolidation, and there has to come a prolonged period of consolidation. That's crystal clear. And in the grand scheme of things, we conclude that even this bullish action here is overall a corrective bullish action. So we conclude that we have seen not an impulsive wave 1 high, but we have seen an corrective wave A top here, counter corrective wave B here, and we are right now in the early stages of the final wave C here, bringing us all the way up to this overall corrective wave Y top. But there is quite a bit of room to go still, so why not jump into that rally? And if we even go to revenue, it's also super interesting to me, because we just spoke about that we have seen a double top here for Freeport-McMoRan in 2008 and 2010, very ending of 2010. And if we look at the revenue development, so 2008, $12 billion of revenue. Right now for 2025, we're sitting at $23 billion. So doubling since 2008. And then again, 2011, we've been at $16 billion. So 50% up again in revenue from 2011. And we're right now even behind this high. So still quite a bit of room to go to meet those all-time highs. So roughly 50% more headroom until we meet those all-time highs here, while we are even right now sitting at 50% higher revenue. So on a mere fundamental basis, that's also super interesting to me. And then when it comes to wave counts here on the short term, in this case on the 4-hour chart, you can see here similar story as with CGN, still active target zone. We have already firstly dipped into this target zone, and paying subscribers of course have been alerted in time and had the chance to already take a first position here for Freeport-McMoRan. But overall, we concluded we are still gonna go deeper inside this target zone, and if that is of interest to you, to also get an alert as soon as we dip into this target zone, get the exact coordinates with limit orders and entries to a model portfolio. Again, link down there in the description if you are interested. And at this point, the understructure for Freeport-McMoRan again is then somewhat similar to the one of CGN, because in here we're also inside of an overreaching wave 3 and are inside of this overreaching wave 3 at the very early beginning stages of this wave 3 of the wave 3 to unfold. So that would mean, in clear and plain English, if we are to hit the exact perfect target in our target zone, that would be another 100% then only inside this overreaching wave 3 here, which would then in return bring us to a slightly higher new all-time high, which in my mind is not too much to ask after 12 years. What am I talking? This will probably gonna be 2026, so after 15 years. So anyways, hope that was helpful to you. See you in the next one. Take care. Bye bye.